How's it going, everybody? Um, Now we're going to talk about really intense street theater that these organized gang stalking, gaslighting assholes do. When I say intense, by that I mean to the point where they come after you when you're alone. Uh, it's happened to me a few times. Actually, I've had even them come after me armed. I don't know if it was to scare the shit out of me or what, and I've actually been shot at. I've had a piece of my shoulder, my right shoulder, nicked in the woods in Norwalk last summer, being shot at by a bunch of rednecks out in their marijuana patch, which these gang stalkers exactly knew where to chase me to, because I've never been to the town I was in. But regardless, um, they'll go out of their way depending on who you are or what you've done or what you are on the list that the government lays out. Um, the intense gang stalking, uh, what they do is they'll mob you. By what I mean by say mobbing is like you're about to get lynched. If you've seen the old movies with people with the torches and everything, and they follow people into the towns and come and try to get them, that's about what I mean by that. It looks like a Twilight Zone horror movie or some shit. They come full speed, like you'll be somewhere, and then there'll be like, I don't know, a couple people, and then there'll be more people, and then it's at a unusual place at a usual time. There'll be more than there would be on an average day or in a situation or in the middle of the night. Like me, I noticed in a couple chases there would be, I'd pull into a gas station and see what was going on, and there'd be like 100 people there, or 50 people around, you know what I mean? And it's like really unusual. There's like nobody there when you pull in, and then people are doing weird shit, like standing there picking at their windshield or pointing at another person doing something, or they're trying to get away from you when you try to approach them. Um, I've even had it where like the police officers were involved, like they actually seen what was going on, and they would stand there while all these people would be approaching me, and then they'd be like trying to actually rip me out of my vehicle, but they were really calm. They didn't look angry. They like had blank expressions on their faces. Now if you were experiencing any of that stuff, you got a bad case of gang stalking. They really want you, and I've actually had them chase me in wooded areas in broad daylight. Like I stayed hidden until I couldn't run no more, and then they quit fucking with me. I've been in places in public, like while bad things were about to happen to me, and I knew they were, and then all of a sudden these people just, it's like they freeze, time freezes or something. It looks like them pause videos when everybody's going through that fad. But you can definitely tell when you walk up to them and approach them and they act all scared and nervous or something, and you act just, what I learned to do is ask them like stupid questions, like, so it throws them off. Don't go up to them and ask them like, hey, what are you doing to me? Why are you following me? Don't do that. Ask them, hey, you got a cigarette, or you know what time it is? You got just something like that, just something out of the usual. Hey, nice day, isn't it? Something like that. And then you can see it on their face, and they'll start sweating it out. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. But like if you notice, like, I don't know, I've heard a lot of TIs talk about like ambulances and EMS people, fire department and stuff like that. I've actually seen that myself. Like ambulances would try to detour me in chases. Like I don't know if anybody's ever been absolutely chased, but I've actually been chased. Like it reminds me of the Dukes of Hazzard, like being chased like that. But there was like hundreds of cars involved. But if you've been chased to that extreme and not followed, then it's a different level. That's why I say there's extreme cases of it. Like that's when the ambulances get involved. I've had fake cop cars actually be involved. It looks, you can tell it's fake, but like you tell people that, they're like you're losing it or you're on drugs. But no. I actually had somebody, a friend of mine, not believe me at first, and I told him about a chase that I was in last year where they had involved a fake cop car and a bunch of gang members and some weird people, and they blocked off traffic. Well, they actually shot at my vehicle, and I got away. And then I figured out to like take all the noticeable things off my vehicle. Well, they didn't believe it, and then they actually seen the video on a Facebook Live. Somebody captured it, and they're like, wow, that was really you. You know, the cops are involved. They didn't do anything about it. It's just what did you do? And like, how did it get to that extreme? I'm like, I didn't know. That's when I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know, like, what the fuck are these people chasing me for? Like, what did I do? Who are they? It's like they're normal looking people. It's like they have no anger on their face. It's weird. And if you notice a lot of these, when you're in these chases, there'll be foreign vehicles with foreign plates. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but they had a lot involved in me. All the same colored looking newer SUVs. So whoever's bankrolling this, I know who it is. They are spending big money on letting these people use like these rent-a-cars, stuff from car lots. There's a place in Rio de Janeiro that this picture was uploaded on one of my phones when this was happening intensely, that it showed where all these vehicles come from. Now, why would they come from Brazil? Now you got to dig deep for all that stuff, but there's certain things that just had lots and lots of these places where these different vehicles that they use in these chases, these gang stalking gaslighting assholes use, that the government brings them in from. Well, then you got, go off another tangent. Like if you notice when you're getting chased intensely, you'll have personalized license plates that are really, really strange, and like dealer tags, stuff like that. If you've ever seen that kind of stuff, and there's like piles of them, and another thing, when they do all this stuff, they communicate with each other by their high beams, and that's another thing I figured out. That's what got me onto this gang stalking at first, because I didn't know what was going on. I started noticing the patterns of it when everything would go into high gear, and they would turn on their highlights on. It was what we call brightening and caravanning, and there would be a stream of newer vehicles just following you with their brights on out in the country, and they're going real slow, but everywhere you turn, they would turn, and there's like 150, 200 cars. It looked like thousands of vehicles everywhere I'd go, and I noticed, well, fuck, I'm going to turn my brights on and see what happens. Well, I kind of lost them for a little bit, because that's how they recognize each other, with their brights. And I've even rode by cops and seen them with that on, and they did nothing. That is another tactic that's being used. The color coordination of the vehicles, what people like, their hand gestures and stuff. There's a lot of weird hand gestures and signals that they use to each other. And you can research that. I don't want to go into all that right now, but I've figured a lot of this out on my own, and then I realized, like, it's really happening to everybody else, so I know it's a real deal. And then that's how I explain it. And I'm trying to help everybody with this as much as I can, because there's a lot of people still that doesn't understand what's going on, and I've been there, and I know what you're going through, and it's horrifying. But also, in the extreme stalking cases, I don't know if any of you have ever been actually chased by a helicopter. They use that stuff. I've actually been chased by drones and helicopters, with people getting out of them to chase me down in the woods, and that was another page. I'll go into that in another video. But if they're using like heavy duty stuff like helicopters and like for an example, EMS vehicles, stuff like that, anything like that, there's a problem there. And even police officers, and I've noticed that a lot too. So that means a lot of people's involved know what's going on. That's about it on that. But anyway, y'all have a good day, and I hope you learned something from this.